So, welcome to Let's Thrive and Shine Beyond Belief, a podcast that's targeting leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners, and maybe showing them that there is another way and that we can smash through that concrete ceiling. We can remove the imposter. We can ensure that we're limitless and also be able to do that in a way that prevents us from reaching burnout. And that's the wonderful thing about all of the interviews that I'm enjoying, the wonderful experience I'm enjoying, and people like Dawn, where they're sharing their journeys, their stories, and showing that there is another way, and now actually teaching other people how to avoid it themselves. And I'm going to allow Dawn herself to introduce herself and also to share her journey of why she's where she is now. So over to you, Dawn, please.
Hello, Keely. Thank you for having me. It's beyond a delight, beyond belief and beyond delight. I love the title of your podcast. I'm going to come back to that because I think it's so relevant to my journey, obviously, as well. So, hi, everyone. I'm Dawn. I'm a relationship coach. My primary focus is the relationship you have with yourself, because that dictates every single relationship that you have with everything bar none. So everything is a relationship, from the relationship you have with your partner to your business, to your cat, to your children, to your desires, to your own healing, to your own care. All of that, every single one of those are individual relationships that start by the relationship you have with you, and how you help yourself, how you are with yourself, how you show up for yourself dictates the flavor of every single one of those relationships too. And often we don't know that those are not working until you keep meeting the same blockers over and over again. That becomes so frustrating and confusing and overwhelming, and asking yourself, like, there's something fundamentally wrong with me and I'm not cut out for this work, I can't do it, it's not working, or something along the way breaks down. So you're doing really well in your business, but your home relationship is not working, or your children are now teenagers and they hate your guts, or whatever that looks like. It comes back down to how you deal with those. It's how you show up for yourself. And I love the title of your podcast, The Beyond Belief, because I think we're all made up of stories, the story that we hold about ourselves that to be true. And for the longest time, my story was that I am worthless, I am not worthy of love, I am not worthy of attention, I take up too much space, I am too loud, I'm too obnoxious, but I'm also the opposite, whereas I don't allow myself to take up space or say the thing. So I was like a walking contradictory, and a total sum of my experiences that I viewed through a very unhappy lens. And so I set up and unconsciously created a set of belief systems about myself that never got challenged until my life exploded, as it often does, doesn't it, Keely? We don't look at these things until our life explodes. Unfortunately, it seems to be the way. And then I realized actually a lot of these things needed updating. And the one that needed updating the most was who I thought I was, who I believed myself to be. So the beyond belief piece is, I didn't believe I was anything but my wounds. I didn't believe I was anything but these thoughts I thought about myself. But actually, that was absolute lies. And it were lies that were keeping me safe, life that were keeping me secure and protected in my own belief system. But they were ultimately mostly damaging to and working against my desires. Not that they were wrong, they've been my greatest learning. But I also had to challenge my belief system about who I thought I was. And my cat, whenever we do these podcasts or I'm on live or anything like that, decides that he has to be the center of attention. So he has now joined. Here we go. There you go. So
it's funny though that cats quite often when you're on, doesn't matter whether you're on Zoom or what, they seem to appear and sit on the most unlikely uncomfortable locations as well. So
True. It's like they
uh,
need to be the center of attention, isn't it, Keely?
yes, absolutely. But yeah, so thank you for sharing your journey. And that's it's interesting, the reason why I chose Beyond Belief, because I think, as you will know, it's that little voice that's whispering in our head, programming our right side of our brain and telling us we're not good enough, that we can't do things. And I mean, quite often, I mean, I know you as an entrepreneur yourself, and we are surrounded by entrepreneurs, and we've got so many different ideas. But when you are in that position where you keep on saying, well, I can't do that because of this, and I can't do that because that, or you've got somebody else saying, don't do that, what stupid idea that is, it's not possible. And if you keep believing those things, then eventually it erodes you and it stops you from being able to achieve your own personal potential. And that's why it's so important to connect with yourself, find self-love, self-compassion, self-belief, because we are all limitless, aren't we?
100%. I was talking on my own. I've got a membership platform, and we were recording one of the episodes yesterday, and the episode was about inner knowing. And to me, all of the things that you've just said can be summarized in: how do I know where I am?
Mm,
How can I go into myself and go, oh, this is what Dawn wants. This is what Dawn needs. This is what Dawn would like. And it sounds like it could be a selfish from the external. But actually, if I know where I am, when I get opposition, especially as an entrepreneur, if you don't know yourself, you could
mm,
be blown about with the wind and the changes and, like COVID happening. If you don't know where you stand and what your gifts are, who you are in your core, it's
mm,
very easy to be swept along and moved around and get lost and overwhelmed. But if
mm,
you have like a practice that brings you back to the core, the essence of who you are,
mm,
then no matter what happens, you can do that daily check-in and go, oh, this is what I want. This is what I need right now. This is what the health of my business, the health of me, the health of my relationship. This is what I need right now. And that means that self-care, self-love, all of those other things, self-worth, come from, okay, how connected am I to myself? You know?
mm. Yeah, yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, one of the core things, like yourself, for me, is about finding your true purpose. Being absolutely connected to the feeling that you get from that. And
Yeah.
as you know, particularly as entrepreneurs, is that that's the thing that will motivate you every single day. You have good days, you have bad days, like you're saying, is that if the earth, the moon, and the stars are not aligned, sometimes you are exhausted, and you need to recognize that and actually own that, and have permission to take time out for yourself. But you're still driven by the core of what it is that you believe in, and that keeps you going. It keeps you motivated, it keeps you inspired, and keeps you smiling. So, because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then there's no point in doing it. I mean, if the biggest lesson I've learned from the passing of my brother over the last couple of years
Mm.
is that life is a gift.
Hmm.
You never know how long it's going to be. So
Hmm.
be present and enjoy your life and have joy in what you do. And if
Hmm.
it's not filling you up, don't do it.
Absolutely. And I can really resonate with that. Grief and the passing of loved ones is often a catalytic, one of those moments. And it certainly has been in my own life story, as you know. But I do think that there's something really, truly significant and special about being an entrepreneur at this time, because you cannot avoid yourself. When you are working for yourself, there's nowhere to hide. You can try and blame it on, if you've got a business partner, you could try and blame it on them. You could try and, whatever, like the state of the economy. But really, being an entrepreneur means that you cannot avoid yourself and what you want, what you don't want, where you're going, what you're doing. and the relationship you have with that means that no matter where you're at and what you're doing, it will keep driving you forward if you are listening to yourself. That's
Mm,
essentially what being an entrepreneur is about, isn't it? It's listening to your desires. Maybe not before, maybe it was, a different shape and size being an entrepreneur before, but as we move into the more soulpreneurs, the more entrepreneurs who are driven by mission and purpose, which is certainly the people I work with and speaks to me, the ones who are here to create change and to create a different paradigm and be part of something evolutionary, revolutionary.
mm-hmm.
It comes back to, okay, well, where are you and how are you relating to your desire? Do you know what your desire is? Because so many of us, we enter into the world of being of service and helping and doing all this kind of stuff. And we've got a deep drive, but we also don't know ourselves in the process. So that's becoming an entrepreneur means exactly like you said, I have to get to know myself. I have to get to know, what is it I like? What is it I don't like? What is it I want? What is it I don't want? And then deliver that into the world. And it's a gift. Being an entrepreneur is a tough, tough thing to do, but it's such a gift.
Yeah, yeah. And it does mean that you get the opportunity to be limitless. I think actually I shared within the group this morning, there's a group obviously that you and I are associated to, Elevate and also How I Connect.
Yeah.
And as you several say, we've got so many amazing human beings within that group, because many of them, in fact, I would say the lion's share are all heart-centered individuals. And they want to serve others, help them to grow and help them to thrive, but they are remaining connected and rooted to themselves. And what I actually showed is it was a actual video clip from one of my other groups, and it was if you build it, they will come. And it is so, so true, because it is, if you've got your own vision and you believe in it with absolute belief that it's going to help others and serve others, they will come. And some days you're going to think, I spend all my time trying to reach out to people, and but you can't convince someone. But if you create it, they'll come towards you, because what you're doing is the right thing. You're on the right track. So I loved that video this morning. So
Oh,
hopefully,
I love it. Yeah. And I don't believe there's any such thing as a mistake. So the things that call you forward, the things that are burning inside of you to be delivered, to be offered, to be worked on, there's no mistake. There's
mm,
no mistake. And if you really stop gaslighting your own needs and desires and really allow yourself to go there and tap into your creativity, and if you know that your blind spot is that you've struggled to give yourself permission or you stay small, get yourself a coach, get
yeah,
somebody who will keep you accountable, that will challenge you, that will help you grow, that can see your bigger vision, that can lead you there, hold your hand and wipe your brow when you're sad, and just, light that fire beneath you and within you and keep going. That's
yeah.
everything. And I read my I wrote my vision about 2 years ago, and I laminated it because laminating anything makes me happy. And then I laminated it and I read it every morning. That's part of my meditation practice and my alignment practice. I am so absolutely committed to going beyond my own belief systems and to tap into what I'm here to create, that I make it a mandatory experience to read my own mission for myself and for what I want to achieve every day. And my mission is about being of service. It's not about me, but the
Mm,
desire comes from me. It comes from my unique essence and my gifts. And it means that I have to challenge myself a lot, and it's scary, but I'm so dedicated to my own uncaging. Do you know what I mean by that, Keely? Like,
yeah, yeah, I do. And it is something that you work on every day. It's interesting. I feel that with COVID happening, although it had so many tragic things that actually come from it, there's lots of positive things that have come from it, because there's so many people that have gone, I don't want to live the way I'm living now. They spent time with their family and their friends, realize that they can do that. So, when they do whatever it is that they choose to do, they want to make sure that it does align with their purpose, their mission, their values, and, make sure that they're actually happy. And I think that many of us, I've said, that have actually identified what their true purpose is probably in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
And for me, it took me over 50 years.
Right.
So,
Right.
but every single day, it's like you're peeling back an onion, as you turn around and say, is that you're like unlocking that door, and you find, yes, there's another thing that may be that little voice that's whispering in your head. But as soon as you know what it is, you can start doing something about it, can't you? You can start improving yourself, start evolving. Equally, though, is the fact that, as you turn around and say, it might be a coach, it might be a trainer, or like we've got an amazing community that lifts you up, because when you've got a challenging day, you can reach out to them and they can help you, and they can talk to you and give you the support, like a non-executive board, effectively. Give amazing ideas that come forward to actually help and support you. So yeah, it is like a little onion peeling back the layers.
And I don't believe there's any such thing as well, let me rephrase that. I truly believe in divine timing. So I don't believe there's any reason why it's taken you longer or me longer or anyone longer than they should have done. Like, I think, have you ever seen the film with Harry Potter and the staircases where they just kind of they turn and then they meet exactly at the right time for you to
Yeah.
step off, and to me that's what life is like. We are all on these staircases that are moving independently and they just happen to come together at the right timing. And
Mm.
so the essence and the gifts that you bring, Keely, are exactly what is needed right now, just like me in my flavor. And all of it together creates a momentum and creates an uplift, and together we rise is a real thing.
Mm.
And so I just think that I absolutely agree with you that out of COVID came so many incredible things, not least the fact that we had to take time out
Mm-hmm.
to, and that gave us the opportunity to go, what is it I really want here? Like, is this enough?
Mm-hmm.
Is this enough? Or do I want more for myself? And if I want more for myself, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Uh,
I love, sorry,
go on.
but I love the groups that we're in. You're absolutely spot on. I get the same experiences out of that too, the accountability, the connection, the upliftment, and to have so many people around us that are in there doing their own puzzle piece, but still here to help the collective grow, and to be part of that uprising to me is just absolutely incredible,
Mm.
phenomenal. And I have my own coach as well because I need to be held accountable, for when I think of myself in smaller ways, or when I challenge because you don't know what you don't know, right, Keely? And that's the thing, like, so.
Yeah. Well, we're improving every single day. If you make a choice to have that growth mindset, we will be improving every day. And none of us are perfect. And, anybody that's listened to my podcast will know that this is a phrase that I use all the time. We are a work of art in the making. We won't be a perfect work of art until the day we die, because that's, we are just growing and growing and growing every single day. And you said something there that I really, it made me smile, is that you said, let's rise together. And that's actually a catchphrase of one of my other groups that I'm with, executive networking events. And that is what they say, let's rise together.
Is that
Because,
right? I love
yeah,
that.
and it's fantastic because effectively, no man is an island, or, one person doesn't make a tribe. We all have a role to play. And once we've actually discovered what that role is, then, as you say, it creates like that ripple effect. And everybody else then starts growing from that as well. And it's magical when it actually happens, isn't it?
It's absolutely so I was in holding a meditation the other day for a group of women on the solar eclipse. And the visualization that I created was that we were all sat round a campfire, and the light in each one of our hearts was connecting and then spreading and expanding. And
Mm,
so we were becoming like anchor points together and shining our light together. And so
mm,
as you come together, I just imagine this like bright star
mm.
emanating the light in every single direction. And you cannot underestimate the power that that has. Like you and I are meeting up with a group of our group of people tomorrow, and like I can already feel the buzz of anticipation and excitement of doing that, because I know that that's like the visual that I'll have is about all of these beams of light coming together in one place and amplifying,
Yeah.
kind of being high on life almost. I just think
Yeah.
it's utterly glorious.
It is. And you know, the funny thing is because the excitement's already there. I had a few personal messages from individuals from the group saying, oh, you know, you're going to be there, you know, we're going to have that one-to-one and have that catch up. Really excited to see you. So you're already getting that sort of
Yeah,
buzz. And it's like, it's almost like, and I love it. It's like, you're almost like being like little children, you know, where you're catching up at school, you know,
I
coming
know.
out.
And that's the other thing, isn't it? As entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time on our own. And so when you come together with a group of people who are exceptional, it's like, I was going to say it's like being on crack, but I've no idea what that's like. So I can't,
Oh, your superior knowledge.
yeah, I really don't know.
It's how you
Spiritual,
imagine it would
yeah.
be. I think the only difference is with that you're going to get a massive high and then you're going to get a drop. With this, you're
Yeah.
going to get a massive high and it's going to keep the momentum going.
Oh, it's just glorious.
It is glorious. So on that note, if you was able to give 3 tips to the audience that could either unlock some of those limiting beliefs, or maybe that little imposter that you know, whispers in the ear, or things that can actually help people prevent burnout, what gifts would you give them?
Well, I might even just say one, to be
Yeah.
honest. Let's see if I could do three. But one, the most fundamental one is, if you're not already asking yourself the real question of how am I really, really,
Mm,
really, really, how am I? Then start there. And if you feel uncomfortable about doing that, which you probably would if you're new to doing that, or you haven't done it in a while, write it down, get a journal. Like, I am the queen of journaling, as I'm sure you are too, Keely. Like, those who have overcome big life challenges, we know that that is such an important
mm,
question. And one of the easiest way to do that is just to grab a pen and pad
mm.
and write down the question, how am I really feeling today? And then just write it down. Like, it'll start off with a diatribe of, oh, I've got a list of things to do, and the cat keeps waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning, true story. Or, I've got, and then eventually, once that dissipates, you'll be left with the, oh, I'm actually really feeling this, and I'm really feeling that. And then the step out of that is you take accountability for yourself. So much of anxiety and overwhelm and panic attacks and fear comes from the fact that we don't act on the inner messages that are there. We're so busy that we ignore those messages because we feel like we have to keep up. And then it all catches up and it happens. You're like, why am I feeling so panicky today? Well, it's because you haven't listened to the needs that you've got, and now it's escalating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'd start, that would be my number one thing across the board for looking after yourself, avoiding burnout, recovering from burnout, figuring out what your desires are, even down to what kind of partner do I want? What kind of life do I want to live? It starts with staying curious and asking yourself the question, and contemplating the answer, right? So that would be my main one. Number two is play.
Yeah.
You know, like it can be so serious trying to earn money, trying to live this life, trying to do your inner work, trying
Mhm.
to overcome PTSD or trauma or any of the other thing, even raising children. Like it feels like it's a lot, and it is a lot.
Mhm.
So where are you playing? Where are you actively inviting that sense of play to come in? Because play is linked to abundance.
Mhm.
And over busyness and withdrawal like that, and that retraction of being hyper busy is linked to a lack mentality. So if you're looking for a practical entrepreneur outcome of how do I create more abundance, well, where am I playing?
Mhm.
And then number three would be create a tribe. And I know that's not a very popular thing to say. Like tribe is, it has a wealth of reactions to that word, but I mean it in the way of who are you surrounding yourself with?
Mhm.
And this isn't a new thing. This isn't, we all know that you are the total sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most. But more than that, your business for growth requires you to hold the energy of expansion.
Mhm.
And if you're surrounding yourself with people who are contracting, who are in fear, who really are scared a lot of the time, then that will impact your desire for expansion. And
Mhm.
so if you're thinking about your bottom line, if you're thinking about abundance, if you're thinking about these things, it's okay, well, are you lit up by the people that are around you? Do they bring the best out of you? And are you bringing the best out of them? If not, I'd have a little think about that too.
Perfect. And the interesting thing is that I mean I use that phrase all the time, the tribe that you surround yourself with. And I don't understand why anybody would see that in a negative way. To me,
Mhm.
I think it's a beautiful thing. If you know who your tribe is and or your community, whatever you want to call it, you do need to feel that joy when you're surrounded with it. If you've got, and sometimes it's hard, sometimes there'll be individuals in your life, it could be friends or loved ones that you sometimes need to say, actually, I can't have you in my space at the moment because you're actually affecting myself, my values, my beliefs. And you need to be honest with that. And
Yeah.
sometimes it might be a case of, like, I need to step away. And it doesn't mean to say that you're not going to return to them. It's just knowing your tribe at that right time. It's with your client base. You need to work with people that you connect with, because if you don't connect with each other, it's not going to serve them. It's not going to serve you. So it's important to be honest with yourself. And unless you're only focused on the money, then it's then going to start dragging you down. And that's when your health starts to be impacted. So it's so, so important to help lift you up, but also to help others. The other thing that you mentioned there was about play, and I love that. I don't, do you listen much to Gabor Mate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that he says on the interview, and I can't remember his name, and I forgive me. But on one of his podcasts the other day, it was he'd just gone through his 80th birthday, and of course he's really discovered his true purpose probably in the last 15 years. Because before as a physicist and everything like that. But one of the beautiful things that he said, not just with his friend but also with his wife, is that when he first went to ask his wife out on the mum and dad's house, is that can she come out to play? And he still uses that phrase now. And he said that's what keeps our relationship alive, is the fact that we do play and we have fun. Even my mates, we still go out to play. And I think that's a beautiful thing to have, because we lose our childlike behavior. And why should we? Why should we stop having fun? So
I mean, I think that's absolutely spot on. And, I would say I'm a recovered serious person. And I was serious because I had a lot of trauma. I was bullied a lot and domestic violence and all the rest of it, right? There's been a lot of stuff. And you know what? It makes you serious. It's not funny. It's not fun going through all of that stuff. But when you start to heal, when you start to find peace with those things and hold it in a different way,
Mhm.
it allows play to come back in. And my relationship with my son and with my partner now are, my partner's incredibly playful. He's extremely playful. And it's one of the things that we love about our relationship is that, you know, he's almost 50, I'm in my mid 40s, and yet we are delightfully playful with each other and serious, but it's just glorious, isn't it, to be able to bring that. And I try and do that in my work too, like the stuff that I do, when that relationship with you piece can be really serious, and it, you know, it's sobering. This is the core of life, this is the crux of what we're doing here. But if we're not playful with it, it can feel overwhelming.
Mm.
So I try to bring some humor into my work as well.
Yeah, I have to say I love humor. I did used to get a little bit told off in my work suppose because sometimes, and I think like you, when you have had various forms of trauma in your life, sometimes you use humor as a mechanism to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So when there's awkward situations, when we used to have challenging situations within the work, the humor would come out. I mean, and there was 13 of us in the team, and there was probably 5 of us that used humor a lot, and we used to get told off so often. But it breaks some of the
Yeah.
patterns that are going on, and it helps you to rebalance yourself and recenter yourself and have fun. And it's okay. It's okay to have it in business. And I love it when I'm having that with the clients, especially, when you see that little smile on their face because they've just gone, oh yeah, okay, I get it now. And you see them lift up and you see the sense of fun that they have, and it's magical, isn't
I
it?
love it. I love it. And there's so much connection that can happen when you're both, you know, when you're really going through something really challenging, and then there's a spark of humor there and play. It does the opposite of diminishing. It brings light into something that feels extremely dense, and it's such a gift. It
Mm.
really is. So yeah, I don't underestimate play ever. The more silly we can be, the more playful, um, the more life responds, I think.
Well, we become even more curious because one of the things that is magical as children is that because we become curious, and I do feel there is an element these days where kids are connected to, say, like their phones or online and all those kind of things. I think quite often that magic is lost because it's
Mm.
being done for them. A great, and I cannot remember her name, it's an actress, she says, allow your children to be bored, because when they're bored, then curiosity comes in because they find something that's exciting to do. I mean, I don't know about you, but I used to love doing things. I was a tomboy, I have to
Me
say.
too.
And he used to make camps and climb trees, and all those kind of things. And having that sense of play and imagination is magical. That's where all the best ideas come from. That's the beauty of when you're in that entrepreneurial state. And sometimes it's a challenge because you've got all these ideas. I mean, I have actually established probably 85% of the entrepreneurs I know have probably got ADHD of the various levels of spectrum, which is absolutely, I think, a great thing to have, because you are quite creative and inspirational and curious and all those kind of things. The only things is trying to rein it in and make sure that you have some focus as well, because you end up having that magpie effect, don't you? Oh,
Mhm,
shiny
mhm,
things,
mhm,
shiny things. So,
mhm.
but
Yeah, I love it. I wouldn't that I've been doing this for a while now, as you have too, haven't you, Keely? And there's no way I could go back to doing anything else. The freedom that I feel, the creativity, the ability to transform repeatedly over and over suits my soul
mm,
so on every level. And I just feel that we are now in a time where we're meeting more and more people who are of heart resonance with each other, and we're all growing together in our own puzzle pieces. And I'm here for it, Keely. I absolutely am just beyond delighted to be here and alive at this time.
mm.
And to be here on this conversation with you as well, doing this is just delicious. So thank you,
You
Keely.
know when you get that I don't know, the energy that's bouncing off of each other, and you feel it, don't you, as you're going through it and
Yeah.
having. discussion. So on that basis, then, I mean, you know, you're really happy in the place that you are right now. So what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Um, I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't give her any advice because it would change the course of her trajectory.
Yeah.
And so um, I just want to bring a gaze of where I am now with love and compassion for my 20-year-old self. And just, I feel really, actually, that feels really emotional just saying that.
Mm,
She was not okay. She was
mm,
not okay. And she would have given anything for somebody to come along and support her and love her, but that would have changed everything.
mm,
And whilst it would have been wonderful to have had that, um, I am grateful for every single experience that I've been through. All of the hardships, all of the torment, all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And so now I'm just very grateful for all of me. Does that
yeah.
make sense?
I don't know. It's almost like you're going back and saying it's okay.
Yeah,
Other
exactly.
than giving advice, it's okay. You
Yeah.
will be fine in the end, and everything will work out.
You
So
didn't do it wrong. You
yeah,
didn't do it
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. You did what you could
Yeah,
based on what you knew at that point.
exactly. 100%.
Yeah. And I have this exercise that I do, and I can't claim it was mine. It was actually from somebody else. And it's a beautiful exercise to have because quite often our inner critic is the thing that holds us
Yeah.
back. And it could
Yes.
be whether it's, you know, trauma that you've had in life, you know, things that maybe people have enforced on you with your culture and all those kind of things. And you create a shape of that. So you create a shape of what you think your inner critic looks like. And you thank it. So once you've created it, so it's hard actually creating it, but you also say why it's done, you know, what it's done, those kind of things. But at the same time, when you put a shape to it, like you're saying, it's happened for a reason. You are who you are because of your inner critic and everything that's come from that. So when you actually remove it from yourself and it's there, I mean, I've actually got it on the side now, it's a hand. And it was like, no one is actually going to be holding me back, you know, that
I love that.
so, and it was really weird because I couldn't get something that was inside me, and I got a bit upset. And she was going, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I can't shape it. I can't feel it inside me." And she said, "Do you realise all the whilst you're doing that, you're pushing your right hand down?" And it was I ended up creating this hand, and I do thank it now. And because I wouldn't be who I am without it. So I
That's
think.
right. Can I just add one more thing? A lot of the work that I do that the is about an emotional revolution. It's helping people to become really at peace with their emotions and with themselves, and to allow that to be expansive and loving and glorious. But every single experience that I've had means that no matter who's sitting with me, I can relate, I can resonate. Like there's nothing that can scare me, shock me, repulse me, push me away. Like it's been such a gift to know that no matter who is in front of me, I have compassion and empathy and understanding, and I'm never scared. Like some of the stories that my clients bring to me are awful, really,
Mm,
really awful. And they say to me, I don't want to say this to you because I don't want you to feel bad. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. And you can visibly see that they are held and
mhm,
they feel safe and they relax and then they unfurl. And Keely, you know that when
mhm.
somebody starts to unfurl, that's when they start to blossom. And
Yeah.
that's just glorious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is truly magical. And I think that's an important thing that you said here is that it's not just about self-compassion for yourself, it's compassion for others. because it's easy to judge. It's easy to fall in the trap of, like whether someone's carved you up in the morning and you could get angry with them, or if someone says something that's wrong to you, but you don't know what's gone on beforehand. You don't know what's
Exactly.
driven that pattern of behaviour. You don't know whether that person that's carved you up is racing to hospital because someone could be dying, or someone's partner's giving birth, or if someone's had a row with a partner, or there's been an accident. People take too much as a personal attack. And it's not about you, it's about them. And that's where the compassion comes into it. Because when you find that compassion, then it changes the way you feel about what people do. You don't react to it. The emotional monkey doesn't kick in. You start to respond to it. You take control of it. And that's where you then start showing up as the leader that you are, because you're the leader in the field of what it is that you're doing, because you're showing that self-compassion.
There you go. Exactly that in every way, Keely. I couldn't have said it better myself. That was, yeah, beautiful.
As you
Mhm.
like. Thank you.
Yeah.
So on that point, obviously we're coming to the end, and I really have enjoyed this discussion. I'm sure you and I could have gone on for a long time. So, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I know this is not going to be coming out just for a while, but I'm really looking forward to seeing you. It's been an absolute pleasure. How can the listeners find you?
The easiest way is my website, www.dawnlucht.com. And then I've got a podcast called the New Dawn Podcast, which is on all the media platforms. And then come and find me on Facebook. Let's hang out. Let's talk about, the things that are coming up in the day. Come and get inspired, have some deep, provoking thoughts, and just let's journey together, So those would be my favorite places.
Okay, thank you. And obviously I will share all of your social media links in all of the channels that I'm on. And everybody, if you've taken something from this, if you've found something that could benefit somebody else, like, subscribe, share, and also let's thrive and shine beyond belief, and give everybody else the opportunity to thrive and shine too. So it's been amazing. It's been fantastic having you on this show, Dawn, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So
Me
thank you.
too, Keely. Thank you so much.